Hey guys, today's victim is a Ryobi lawn edger. It was, when it was put away, it did run. Unfortunately, that was 10 plus years ago. So I thought it'd be fun to break it out and see if we could maybe get it running again. This is a 4-cycle engine, not a 2-stroke, so it does not use a pre-mixed gas. It's just straight gas. It does have an oil fill down here where you check it. I did check the oil. It is quite old, nasty looking, but there is oil in it. I am not a big fan of the 4-cycle when it comes to small engines like this on chainsaws, weed whackers, or edgers, but it is what it is. It's not really worth anything, so I'm not going to put any money into it. But I'm gonna get this off the stand. I'm gonna take it, well, get it off the table, take it out, get it cleaned up, and I'll bring it back when that is done. I just hosed it off a little bit, wiped it down with a rag, just get some of the really loose, chunky, greasy dirt off of it. Have not opened up the gas yet, so I'm a little afraid to. I don't know what this is going to be after 10 years. Oh my. And there is gas in there. This is 10 years old, so I'm going to just dump that out. And it is real cloudy. Not a whole lot in there, but it's definitely 10-year-old fuel. I don't know if you can... Nah, it's too dark. I doubt you can see down in there, but that's not good fuel. And I do have, even though I know I said this does not take premix, I am going to put a little bit of premix in it, only because it hasn't ran in so many years. And before I do anything, for the fun of it, I want to see if we can just start it, if we can prime it up and get her to run. So, and the premix, that ought to help the cylinder. In fact, you know what? I never even pulled the cord to see if it was seized up or not. And trying to prime the bulb, and I don't think we're going to have any luck because my bulb is not priming, not pulling any fuel up. And the most common issue when you have something that has sat so long is the carburetor gets fouled up. Now these don't have floats like a regular lawnmower will. It has a diaphragm in it, and as the piston draws down, it pulls that diaphragm back, which creates a suction drawing the fuel up, and then pushes it up and in through the carburetor. That was probably clear as mud, but works something like that. So I think I'm going to have to dump that fuel back out. Actually, I think I'm just going to leave it in there. May not bother me. And we'll have to look into the carburetor. Alright, let's go ahead and get this carburetor off, see if we can get it working. Like I said, I don't want to put really any money into this thing because it's not worth anything. I might have a diaphragm and a couple gaskets from other projects out somewheres, but we'll get this off and then I'll see what I have. There's no oil in the air filter, so that's good. The water's just from where I rinsed it off. That's all that is. And hopefully this is all that's wrong with it. I did give it a little tug after I had turned the camera off, so it's not froze up. It will turn over. You know what? Before I do that, Before I do that, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of premix down into the carburetor and give her a pull and see if we do get her to fire. Let me get it down off the bench and I'll bring you right back. Alright, little premix in the carb. If I can find the carburetor. Oops. A little too much. Let's give her a yank, see what happens. Off, on. Maybe another little drink. Alright, well, it will start, so I'm going to throw it back up on the bench, get the rest of that, get that carburetor off of there, get her cleaned up, and see if we can't get her running for good. Going in. The rest of the way. These hoses don't look too bad. A little stretched out though. Honestly, I thought they'd be. Honestly, thought they would be petrified. Now, let's see if I can remember where them two go on, so I don't get them backwards. Little throttle cable. We'll set that aside. Get this bench cleared off a little bit. See if we can't take this off without tearing it. Just kind of work it a little slowly around there. Sometimes it'll be a little tedious, but like I said, I want to reuse the same gaskets. I think this was a Home Depot model, sold at the Home Depot years ago. So I'm pretty sure it ain't worth a whole lot, even running. And this gasket is not going to cooperate, I don't think. Well, it is what it is. Worst comes to worst, I'll just make up a little paper gasket, that's all. You see some people that have these little Cricut printing machines, and they take gaskets and photocopy them, and then they use that little Cricut machine to print out new ones. Just put the paper gasket material on the machine and cut it right out. Yeah, I don't think that was going to come off without tearing it, so anywho, we'll clean that up a little later. Yeah, the primer bulb actually feels good. It's pumping, I can hear it, so I'm not going to mess with that. I want to just go right in here. That should be your pump, the diaphragm that I suspect is not good. But then again, the passages might very well just be all plugged up too, being it sat so long with the fuel in it. And I don't think, now that I'm looking at this, I don't think I do have one of these diaphragms. One I have is a different style. And that probably is not going to come off either without tearing. It does feel a little hard. And I have a feeling this isn't going to go so well. Wait a minute. There we go. Maybe. Maybe not. That just tore it. Yeah, she's a little stiff. It should be quite a bit more pliable than that. This is the diaphragm I had mentioned earlier, that the movement of the piston operates it just by the vacuum it creates. And what it does is this little pin on the back, or the plate, rests up against this little lever, and on the other side is your needle, which is your shuttle for your fuel. So as the piston goes down, it pulls this diaphragm back, opening up the needle. You can see it come out, and that allows fuel in, and then as the piston stops going down, the spring will close it back off. What I'm going to do is look online, see if I can't find some gaskets for this. I'm not so sure how easy that's going to be for a Ryobi. I believe this is probably one that they had made, and I don't think they have gaskets for it, but I'm going to look to see what I can find, and I will get right back to you. Might take me a couple days, but don't worry, for you it should only be a second. Alright, it's been about a month, maybe a little bit longer, since I've last done anything on the Ryobi lawn edger. But as I suspected, being this is made in-house by Ryobi, I could not find any gaskets for the carburetor. At least not, I couldn't anyway. But what I did do was I found a replacement off of eBay, and it was $10.65. I know I said I wasn't going to spend any money on it, but for the sake of the video, and it's only $10.65 for shipping, I went ahead and purchased it. So let's go ahead and get it on and see if we can get her running. Unfortunately, I don't have a new gasket, heat shield and all for it, but I think this will work. If not, worst case, I'll just cut the center out of it and make a new gasket. Get our, that's the old one. I don't want that one, I want the new one. Get our throttle cable, which I think I just got her stuck in there. There we go. Try to seat that gasket better back here on, kind of torn right around that screw. And I do not remember which way these hoses came off, so if I'm wrong, I guess we'll find out, won't we? Might help if I have my glasses on. Might actually be able to see what I'm doing. And now see if we can get her to pump up. And it's possible those hoses could actually be plugged up too after setting for 10 years. See if I'm blowing bubbles back in the tank. Yeah, blowing bubbles in the tank. So I think I might have those lines backwards. Let me change them back around and get right back with you. Okay, I got the fuel line switched back around. Now, see if we can get her to pump up now. Nothing yet. I want to pull that hose off and see if maybe I can blow through it. And that's our problem. That one is clogged up. So I'm going to reach down in here and grab that line. It has a little filter on it. And I'm hoping it's just that filter plugged up if I can get it out. Come on, almost out. And that's the little filter on it. I doubt I'm gonna get that cleaned, or even off. So for this, I'm probably just better off cutting that hose. I hate the thought of replacing that whole thing. And now, again, I'll try to blow through it, make sure that the hose itself ain't plugged. Yeah, that's good. Guess it tastes good. Not really. I don't know. And I'm even gonna get that on there. Yeah. I don't know if it shows up, but that end is completely plugged solid. All right. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to go ahead and put this down in the fuel. And then I'll get another one. This is a little bit too large, and I may even end up just replacing that line. I'm not sure yet, but just to get it running, I'm just going to throw this back down in there, see if we can get it pumped up and get it running. Then afterwards, I can go back. I can go back in there and change that out. It's not a big deal. So I think I got her down in there. Not 100% sure, but I think I do. I ain't even sure which one. If I put them on the wrong way again or not, I don't even know. Find out if we get bubbles. See what we get. Got bubbles. Let me switch them around again. And now it's hidden up behind here. I don't know. Maybe we'll put it there where you can see a little better. Right in there. Probably not helping you any. Get you too far there, you'd be in my way. That ain't gonna do either of us any good. That one on, that one on. And it is pumping up. So let's put the gas cap back on it. Set it on the floor. See if it starts. How about we give her a little choke? She does not seem to want to be starting. We still have a fuel problem. Alright, so it does run not very well, and I think the problem is the fuel lines, so I'm going to go ahead and replace those. And the gasket that I put in the back, it's actually, it acts as a heat shield too. I'm going to go ahead and make up a new gasket for that. and then we'll go from there. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pull this carburetor and everything back off so I can have easier access to the fuel lines, and I want to get that gasket off the back because I want to use the outer diameter of that also to try to remake that whole thing and see if we can get this running better. Yeah, you can see how bad that gasket is, especially in this area here. So I'm thinking that was probably, I would say it was definitely letting some air in, bypassing the carburetor, which will definitely impact the ability of it to run. I want to make an attempt to get this on the there. I can blow through these hoses fairly easy, so I don't think that's going to be a problem leaving them, but I do want to try to get this on. Probably not the smartest thing, a lighter gas tank. It is completely dried. So we'll see what happens. If I blow up, I won't be here. But I just want to heat this up a little bit, make it a little more pliable. Make sure there's no gas in the line. And then we'll try to get that on there. And I just don't think I don't know, maybe she will go. Yeah, she went on. Good. Because there is still a little bit of dirt down in there also. Even though I washed it out a bit. So I really don't want to run it without a filter on it. Because everything that's going to do is spout up that new. It'll foul that new carburetor up, so it will do. Try to get this back down a little bit. Get her laid down. That should do it. And this is the gasket I was talking about. Because the outer part of this is like a heat shield. It may even have to do with the direction of the airflow across the fins to help for cooling. But being just so bad, I think it's just drawing air behind the carburetor. Mixes up the air fuel mixture. That's why it's not running well. So I'm going to off camera go ahead. I got some gasket cardboard. I'm going to cut this out. Once I get that done, I'll bring you back. Alright, I got the makeshift homemade gasket cut out. It's not the prettiest, but hopefully it'll do. Let's see if we can stick it all back together. Make it fit. Hopefully. Maybe. I'm gonna break it already. Ain't working out well. Not as I planned. Yeah, I'm already tearing it up. Fail. Alright, I made up this little gasket here. It's not as big as the other one was as far as the heat shield and all, but it should work. Just made it up out of some gasket paper. So let's get her reassembled and see how it runs. And I also did one bolt, just popped that off, no big deal. Did that off camera, obviously. In fact, I probably ought to slide that back on before I get too far. Little trimming. Make sure that all clears. And we shall get her back together. There's some of it I don't record because I know it's monotonous watching it, some of it when it's a little slow. And some of it that I do put on there probably is. And get her fuel lines hooked back up. And once again, I don't remember which one went where. No surprise. And that went on awful light, so that might be part of a problem too. That might be sucking a little bit of air there. If we have a problem, and I think I just pushed all the gas out into the tank. Let me swap them around. Guess that ain't gonna pump nothing up if there ain't no fuel in there. And I ran enough premix into that cylinder. I'm sure she's all lubed up, so I'm gonna go right back to regular gas, because that'll probably make her run a little bit better without the oil. And we will see if we can't get the gas pump up into the bulb. And there she is. Alright, let me get her back down on the ground, see if she'll start up. Well, I can tell you, I bought this brand new, I don't know, probably 11, 12 years ago, and that's about as good as it's ever ran. I'm not a big fan of the 4-strokes, especially these cheap ones. They seem to bog, but anyway, it seems to be running pretty decent now, as good as it ever has. So thanks for hanging out in the garage and wrenching with me. Have a good day.